Hey everyone, it's Mike Bonn, and today we're going to go over the proper two-step BRRRR, the funding part of it. In our thoughts, looks at this, how many of the BRRRRs we've done over time, the funding part is probably the second most important, how to get it right. And we're going to go over like real numbers in this series. This series is going to start out with me just going over a quick overview of it so you can understand and see where it is. But if you get the buy right, and you can get the funding right, BRRRR works great. For real estate investing with BRRRR is really buying properties under value. So you have to put less money, less of your cash flow in each transaction, each deal. So today we're into episode 6. And episode 6 is actually going to have 5 different sub episodes because we're going to go through real numbers, break it down, make it as simple and possible as you can, and then give you some tools to even put that into place as we go forward. And as always, so I just got back from a late night flight, so just bear with me a little bit here. But if you have a chance, go through some of these other fundamentals we have here. Funding flips, funding BRRRRs, anything. Subscribe to our channel, it definitely helps. It's just a little click below this YouTube video. If you could do that, if you could reach out to us, give us some feedback, let us know exactly what else you could help. We've helped thousands of deals and transactions over the 22 years. Our goal is to make you as successful as possible. And part of that is just understanding, knowing how the system works and how to work the system. If you want to be a real estate millionaire, you're going to have to just understand some of the fundamentals. That's what we're here. We're a lender. We're looking at this from a money leverage kind of standpoint. How can you leverage yourself to where you want to be? That's what we're here for. We're here to help you get on this path to be free using real estate investing to be free in 3 years. So stick with us. Check out our videos. We have some, education. We have some fun videos out there. Go out, subscribe, watch them. Let us know what you think. We, once again, are an investor-focused lender. That's all we do. Focus really on the bridge loans, the hard money, anything there. Our goal is, like I said, to make you successful. Because if we can make you successful and profitable, you're going to hopefully keep and stay with us through the process. So that's our whole goal here. It might not be the most fancy videos and everything, but we want to get down to really the nuts and bolts and how do real investors do this. So in this, we're going to go through the BRRRR, the refinance of it. And it's going to break down into a few other smaller steps because we understand if we gave it all to you in one, one series, one webinar, that it's actually going to probably be too much overwhelming. And a lot of people, when they get into the numbers, the math, they kind of just, shut down, stop. And this is really key. If you want to get to where you're getting into properties with zero down, you're using BRRRR properly, you just need to know a few simple steps to get there. But behind those steps are some numbers, and we're going to go over them. We're going to go a quick review today, and then we're going to go break down each one of these in detail in its own seminar over the next couple of weeks. We'll be sending these out, and we'll go through real numbers so you can follow it. And then we're going to follow up at the end with some simple Excel spreadsheets that you could use just to do this on your own too. So the first question, and we're going to go over in this series, is retail versus BRRRR. There's 2 basic ways to invest in real estate when you're buying rentals. You could go out and find a property that's already fixed up, ready to go, and pay retail. That means you pay the market value for it. And in that case, you're putting more money into the properties. So retail is really based for those investors who have the money to put in right now, who maybe want to take a slower approach. BRRRR is more for someone who wants to conserve their cash flow even if they have it, or they don't have a lot of money to put into the rentals, and they want the speed. They want to get to their goal, their life, the way they want to live as fast as possible in real estate investing. Because BRRRR set up properly, you can find, and in this environment, it does take a little bit more time, does take a little more work to find the right deals. But if you're dedicated to that and you do this properly and you work with the right lenders and understand the basics of the finance, you can do this. You can quickly become that real estate millionaire through BRRRR with little to no money down into each property. You just have to know a couple simple numbers and aspects. And we're going to go through each one of these in coming videos and break down like what are the numbers of retail buyer versus a BRRRR buyer, and what does that look like, and even what does that look like when you're looking at the lending part, just so you understand the basics. So when you go through this, you find your partners or whatever, you could quickly run through this and make sure you're getting the properties that are going to accelerate you through and not, like be an anchor to you, something that you get into and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. We've seen a few people who've done this strategy and maybe didn't watch their numbers, and this got frustrated and got out. So it's better just to take your time, watch your numbers, and we're going to go through each numbers, like I said, in this, in the coming webinars. We're not going to wait month to month to do this. We're going to actually be getting these out in the next couple weeks. So, but number one, like even before you get into it, and we're going to go through these numbers too, is you have to understand the 75% rule if you're working with BRRRR. Like I said, if you're doing retail, it's something else. But the 75% rule is if you want to buy a property with little to no money down, zero down, you have to fit in your purchase, you have to fit in your rehab and everything else under 75% of that after repair market value. Once again, we don't want to get into the weeds, we don't want to get into everything, but this is just the overview. So even before you start, the BRRRR process, number one is if you're looking to maximize your leverage, speed through this, get as many properties as you can because you don't have to put as much money into them. You're going to have to keep it 75% or below of the after repair value. So if you already know your after repair value, the market value is going to be $200,000 on a property, if you want to put zero in, you're going to have to find those properties, put in the sweat equity, put in the rehab, and keep it below that 75%. And we're going to go through every one of these slides in detail in the coming weeks of showing just example after example of what this looks like, how you could do it, and then give you that Excel spreadsheet where you can just put these in so when you're looking at them, So we know the difference now between retail and BRRRR and the 75% rule. Then it gets into the refinance part, is how do you set this thing up? So if you already know, okay, this deal will be all in at 75% or below, or maybe it's 80% and you want to put the 5% in, what does the finance and refinance look like? So even before you start, you need to know your 75%. The next thing you need to understand is you're going to need two loans. You're going to need that bridge loan, which we've talked about before in the buy, and then you're going to need the refinance loan, which is the longer term loan. But if you don't set up your bridge loan properly up front, you're going to end up paying more, putting more money into the property, and that's another way people get frustrated because they're like, well, BRRRR doesn't really work because I went and did a cash out refinance and I didn't get all my money back. You have to set it up properly, and we're going to go through what that looks like, what the proper bridge loan looks like, and everything you need to do on this, including, like we said, there's 3 easy steps. Know your 75% rule, know exactly what you qualify for. So let's just say you want to get into BRRRR, and you're like, okay, I want to get into BRRRR. I want to put as little money down as possible. So I'm going to, number one, need to be in properties under 75%. But I'm also going to have that bridge loan that will actually allow me to finance that whole 75%. We'll go through what those numbers look like, how do you find them, and how do you make it easier for the bridge loan to actually, get you to that 75%. And last but not least, because we hear this all the time, is, do your BRRRR, get your refinance, get your cash out. We never focus on cash out loans because cash out loans versus rate and term is so there's 2 different kinds of loans. Let's start with that. There's 2 different kinds of loans you can refinance. One is cash out and the other one's called rate and term. We always focus on the rate and term because you're going to get more money back. You're going to have less money and higher leverage. You're going to accelerate BRRRR faster. You're going to be able to get as many properties and have the highest leverage if that's your goal, using rate and term versus cash out. And in this example, we're going to actually go through the two different numbers and buying a house and using cash out, or buying a house using rate and term, how that not only affects you on that one property, but how about if you're accelerating through this, getting to that, you want to be that real estate millionaire. How do you get there fast? You put as less money into each property as you can. And that means you have to use the law, the rules and everything properly in this, and go with rate and term versus cash out. And we understand math, finances, stuff, some of the things that close people down. But that's why we're just going to go through this bit by bit, piece by piece, so you have it. And these will all come out over the next 2 weeks. So you have the examples and you have the tools to use them. So you set up BRRRR correctly. Because if you set up BRRRR correctly up front, it works great. You don't get frustrated. You don't have to put an bunch of extra money into it. You don't hear people start saying like BRRRR doesn't really work. It works. In this environment, it takes a little bit more time to find those properties, but it's a lot better to find the right property. Know your 75%. Make sure your bridge loan is set up correctly, and your cash out or your rate and term refinance is set up properly. You do those three things on each deal, you're going to maximize your leverage. You're going to make sure your cash flow is staying in your bank, staying in your life, and not locked up into a property. And you're going to get onto the next property and the next property and the next property. So we'll go through that. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to us. All of these videos will be out on our YouTube channel, Hard Money Mike. So go out there, subscribe. I know that helps us keep creating these, plus getting us feedback on everything that we need. If you have an actual deal, you want Sarah to look at it, just email us. Mike at Hard Money Mike will get right back to you. Like I said, next time, we're going to look at the real numbers. Like, what does a retail purchase look like compared to a BRRRR? Because I think you need to know that and understand it, because there's a lot of things that kind of get mixed up in this. And since we're looking at real numbers, we're also looking at real numbers on the leverage, the loan. What does that look like, and how much I have to put down if I have to put any down? How does that look like for better actual rates and stuff, and how does that affect my cash flow? So we will talk to you real soon. I'm just catching up a little bit this week as I spent a couple days in Texas looking at some properties, and we'll get back on the series and we'll get these out to you as soon as we can over the next 2 weeks, all 4 of these videos with all the numbers. And as always, happy investing. Reach out to us if you have any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you real soon. Thank you.